Well, hello again to everybody, and hello again to Stuart. This is actually episode 20.
I can't believe it, Derek. Does that mean that you and I have had opinions for 20 episodes and we still haven't actually solved the world's crises?
No, we don't
Right.
have to solve them though. We only have to have opinions on them.
That's true. That's true.
Last month we had an interesting and lengthy chat. It has to be said, all about uncertainty, and ambiguity. And this month we promised to tell you some of the things that you can do to solve some of these problems that you might be having. So I suppose we ought to give the viewers what they're expecting. So the first thing that I came across, and if you use ChatGPT or other AI bots
Are available.
are available, yes. But one of the things which did actually come across my mind first anyway was one of the reasons we hate uncertainty and ambiguity is the fear of it's the panic that it instills in us. And one of the problems is if you can sort out the things that you know, the things that you don't know, and the things that you can't or will never know, that is going to solve a lot of problems. So the things you know, you can deal with them anyway. The things you might be able to know, if you did some research, or your company or your team did some research, then that's great. But if there are things that are impossible, banish them, because
So can I just sort of expand on that one then, Derek? Because
you can.
for me, one of the ways that we deal with this uncertainty, and for me, I was we talked about this a little bit before. My first 10 years of my working life were as a scientist doing various research experiments in universities. And for me, I have brought a lot of that thinking into my business life. And I don't think enough business owners actually think of how would I as a scientist move forward with a certain level of ambiguity? And the answer would be I would do an experiment. I would actually sat down and say, I believe that strategy X, as it were nowadays, as opposed to what I was doing, so will result in outcome Y, and actually plan a way of actually sort of implementing that and seeing if I actually get what I want. And if it does, great, you've proved it, you can move forward along that path. If it doesn't, you turn around and go, okay, that's fine. We haven't proved that. Let's go back and have a look at, well, not strategy X. Now we'll try strategy W and see if it produces outcome S. And you keep doing that until you actually get the outcome you want, and then you move forward. So ambiguity can be resolved by a series of experiments, tightly controlled, but you don't ever stand still waiting for some clarity, because you'll never get it.
No, indeed. And the other thing about these is that if you're doing experiments, link it with the fact that your time horizons should be a lot shorter, because one of the things we tend to do is say, we plan like N years in advance, and when we can't, that's when we all start panicking. But if you have the shorter time horizons and you can experiment, and the other thing that links in with that is you can also ask yourself the question, what do I need to know? What do I need to do? What experiments can I conduct? What research can I conduct in order to get there? Which is a different way of just sort of, instead of starting out from a fixed point and trying to go along a line into the future, pose the question, how are we going to get there, and manage those the contour of time. I like that.
I think what you're pointing out there is the fact that we don't actually feel comfortable with this idea of not knowing. And I think that's one of the problems, that we have a fear of not knowing, because the fear of the unknown is a big problem. But actually, if you take control of that by actually saying, well, we're going to start testing it, or we take a view within the company that it's okay to say, I don't know. I think a lot of business owners don't want to admit they don't know. They want to be able to sort of stand in front of the staff, or they stand in front of their customers and say, "Don't worry, I've got it all under control." Sometimes we have to admit we don't have it under control. They know we don't have it under control. They can see it, but we have to admit that, and we have to sort of embrace that and say, "I might not know how this is going to work out, but I know how I'm going to get the answer, and that's by doing such an experiment, or I'm going to take this path." And that's one of the ways of dealing with ambiguity. Instead of not fearing it, actually grasping it and saying, "I'll make progress anyway."
And another thing that follows on for that is if you're doing experiments or some research and you end up with data, for want of a better description, is the sort of decision rules that you use to move forwards after that. A lot of people in boardrooms, they sit around with information, have a pile of information, and then they say, we just haven't got enough information, enough knowledge, enough whatever to actually move forwards, and the thing gets kicked down the road. So if you can say, have some simple decision rules as to how you move forward, not go the whole extreme of like some of the many big companies used to do, scenario planning, not go as far as that because it takes far too long to do. But yeah, if this happens, if our boiler blows up twice next week, we do this, or if it costs less or more than this is what we do. Just simple ways of doing things. And that also leads on to another one of the things that I thought of, which is about involving everybody. If everybody knows the rules, and then nobody will get their bottom smacked sharply for taking a course of action, because it's built into the decision-making process.
So taking that one on board, and using something you said earlier, obviously the great excuse me, I think it was Donald Rumsfeld, wasn't it, that said there are known knowns, known unknowns, and unknown unknowns. Excuse me, if I remember rightly. I have a cold, in case you haven't noticed.
No, I'd never yeah. But it doesn't stop you from imparting your wisdom.
Nothing has ever stopped me imparting my wisdom, Derek. But let's get to
Donald Rumsfeld. It was him, yes.
Yeah. So those known unknowns, that's where you assign people from your team to say, go find out. Go actually do something about this known unknown. Go do some research. Let's see if we can quantify it. And if there are, and you think, and I don't think we can ever discount the fact there will be unknown unknowns, the way in which you deal with these unknown unknowns, of course, is that you have to put in some sort of buffer. You have to put in some sort of time, money, especially to handle those surprises. And the thing that we often do is we sort of just ignore those and hope that they will just never appear. And therefore we haven't allocated the money or the time for that unknown. Part of ambiguity is accepting that there will be an unknown. And the only way you can handle it is to put aside some of your buffer, time, energy, resource, whatever it takes, in order to cope with it, and just accept that it will be there. It's when you just ignore those and hope that it all just goes okay that it becomes a problem. And it is I can remember one business, we sat down as a board and we had to put buffers aside for various things. And one of the buffers we put aside was some time for the fact that we knew we were entering into some really, really leading edge technology, and we just accepted it was going to bite us at some stage. So let's put some time aside so that we don't end up running short of effort in order to be able to get through such a complex problem.
Yeah, but crucially, the thing about doing that is not to be worrying about it all the time. Make some provision for the fact that you have unknown unknowns. I mean, it could be resources, or it could be that you have an unknown spotter in your company whose job is to just, I don't know, scan all horizons and have a look at it. But if you put some resources away, don't be worrying about it. That just increases your stress and the panic.
But once again, that is having an unknown spotter in your business, and we can go back to sort of, this is once again part of dealing with ambiguity is all about having a risk management plan. If you have got somebody as allocated to each one of these risks, whose job it is just to wait until such time as it looks like that risk is about to come and bite you on the body, that is the
Mm,
person that is going to be best placed in order to be able to sort of um, warn you of that problem. Having nobody looking at that, having nothing to do with it, just ignoring it, will inevitably end up being the thing that actually causes chaos. So ambiguity is there. Ambiguity is all around us. It is all about
mm,
ensuring that you actually sort of treat it sensibly, not ignore it, and
mm.
hope for the best of it going away, because it just never will.
No, but spotting these things is also some of the activities you might undertake are the things that people traditionally just said are a waste of time
Agreed.
because I mean, these things can come from anywhere. I mean, for instance, I mean, at a reasonable sized company, the receptionist is in a great position
Yeah.
to pick up on gossip, know who's coming in and out of the company, um, even down to which part of the company probably has the greatest sickness absence, because
They
they
know
know
who's coming through the door.
who's walking in the door or not. Your delivery drivers, because or people who collect your raw materials, they will know through visiting other companies what's happening there. Or is there a downturn, or are other companies accelerating some other aspect of their business? They will know. I mean, it sounds nice going out for lunch, but depending who you lunch with and where you go for lunch, that's how you pick these things up. I mean, everybody has got a pair of ears to listen with and a pair of eyes to read with, and
And
and then
and and we come back to the fact that um, these resources are the value behind asking people to get involved in dealing with ambiguity, and the value of accepting it's there rather than fearing it and thinking I can somehow ignore it and everything will be fine, is down to the leader of the business actually explicitly stating this stuff, isn't it? It's about the leader standing up and going, we know that there are going to be issues, problems, but we don't want to hide away from that. We have to actually call that out and stand up and say, we're going to learn to manage those rather than allow them to manage us.
well, I mean, I'm just wondering actually, is the idea of managing a bit strong? Because some of these things
Ooh.
you can't manage. You maybe look out for them. You maybe have uh, behaviors, or I hate to use the term processes, but something that responds and adapts. Back to chameleons here, of course. But yeah, can we? I mean, I'll just try thinking of an analogy from the field of sports, for instance. I mean,
Hmm.
some of the field sports we play, football and rugby, for instance, people do almost plan them, and it's the battle of the plans. But there are some things that, particularly individual sports, boxing and martial arts, when nobody, these people have developed highly tuned skills for whatever, but they have no idea what's coming at them,
No, absolutely not.
and you have to be able to react quickly. And I think that's what we need to do, but not worry. I mean, your average boxer isn't going to worry too much about all the things his opponent could throw at him. He waits till the punches are thrown,
And
and
and once again, no, everybody, as Mike Tyson says, has a plan until they get punched in the face.
what there's that quote, isn't there, about strategy only surviving until the first contact.
Well,
um,
I think that was Herbert von Muntlich, I believe,
yeah, but
who was a Prussian general who said something along those lines. I still think Mike Tyson's probably got it better. Everybody's got a plan until they get punched in the face.
indeed, but that plan is because you haven't even tested it. You have no way of knowing whether it's effective or not.
You have nothing.
That's the point. So in this day and age, it's behaviours and attitudes and all of the things that to do with your people and how you manage your ideas that you have to focus on.
Yeah, agreed.
So the first sensible thing we've come up with is that the boss man, whoever he is at the top, needs to.
Boss man, boss person.
Well, yeah, I think the boss women might have got this sorted, to be honest. But the person at the top of the organisation needs to make. I wouldn't say make some sort of statement. They need some sort of vision communicating, however that gets done. But and people need to be allowed to buy into it, and of course they'll take different amounts of time to do it.
They will. You're right. You're right.
But they do. And how you do that depends on the company. I mean, Cadbury had a great way of doing it because they had a big reorganisation a long time ago. In fact, people who are younger than a certain age will remember the old Cadbury's flakes with the twisty bits at the ends. And Cadbury had a reorganisation, and at the same time they changed the flakes, so they were just in like little foil envelopes. And the fortunes of the company at that point, whether it was down to the flakes or not, I don't know, started going downwards. So they put the twisty wrappers back in the flakes, and they also decided that they would reinforce the values of the company. And being a Quaker company, it was all written down in a nice book and everything. But obviously, you can't get a whole company to read a book. So they got the values that were espoused in that book, put it in a video, put it on a series of boards and posters and things that people could sign on by their workstations, watch the videos, etc. And people can do that in their own time and do it in their own way. But once you bought into it, it makes it an awful lot easier. Because if the person at the top is saying this is the way we're going to do it, people go, oh yeah, just another change initiative.
Just another one of them.
You've got to mean it, and then get people to sort of enter at their own speed and commit in some way.
Yeah, agreed. Right, we are about 20 minutes in, are we not?
No, 18 minutes in.
Oh, 18 minutes.
I've got a timer on my screen.
You can't expect me to know what I'm doing, Derek.
No, I don't. So,
what are we talking about next month?
We don't know yet. I think it needs to be something topical.
Oh, let's not get too topical. I don't want to get too topical.
Okay, what haven't we talked about then?
Well, I think we could continue talking about. We could continue having opinions, I suspect, on ambition, because I think there's a lack of ambition about businesses. Some businesses are not nearly ambitious enough. So why don't we do ambition?
My goodness, we have Simon Raybould, who's actually asked a question.
Oh, has he? What has he said?
He said, "Is the best idea to have the staff generate those ideas?"
Oh, I like that idea, Simon.
Not necessarily. But I think everybody should be having ideas, and we need to be open to those ideas and ways of capturing them.
Yeah, agreed.
The worst thing you can do is I don't know if anybody remembers the old-fashioned suggestion box.
Oh, now I've run those.
The cardboard box that used to sit somewhere along a corridor somewhere with a slot in it, and you used to post little things. And you had no idea what happened to those.
Yeah, that was the problem.
You had no idea there was no transparency. You had no idea what happened, and even if they were taken on board, you had no idea who had looked at them and when.
Do you know something? I'm going to have to. Yeah, I'm going to have to sort of develop a story on this one. I'll tell you a story. We had a suggestions at one business. We were trying to gather as many ideas, and we had hundreds of them. Many of them were unrepeatable. Many of them were anatomically, shall we say, anatomically impossible. However, there were some that came in that were absolutely brilliant. And I made a decision when I was doing this that we would give a response to every single person. And now we eventually ended up sort of taking it from a piece of paper to a form online that they filled in, which made it easier to respond. But every single person who put a suggestion, if they left a name, I responded. And I responded by saying, yes, no, we're really going to think this one through. And the time that we're going to take and think this through, or we're going to take it to this meeting to discuss it, is this date. And we'll give you some feedback immediately afterwards. The one comment that came back from that was, we've never seen anybody commit to actually answering every single one of our questions before. And it generated so much more positivity because we gave feedback on what had happened. And I think the idea of actually asking for input, like Silas just said, but making sure that you give that feedback proper due process and make sure it's considered and you respond to it. I mean, obviously, the ones that asked me to do something that was anatomically unpleasant, I just responded with no, thank you. But those people that responded with something sensible, I actually said, we take it, we'd look at it, we'd consider it. This is how we'd consider it. And then we'd give them some feedback. And often the feedback was, we need some more data. Can you gather it?
Yeah.
Now, either they could or they couldn't, but whichever, we allow people the opportunity to understand that we had taken on board their idea and we had at least thought about it.
Yeah. I mean, well, yes, the anatomically interesting comments. Yeah, you have to disregard them, can't you? You can't really comment on them. But
well, you could comment on them, but I'm not entirely convinced that commenting on them was going to help.
No, but there are things you can go forward with. There are things that particularly ideas can be put into an ideas bank for later, just because. Just because the company is an engineering company and they're not into making custard at the moment doesn't mean that they might not be in the future. So these things can get banked, but it's the forerunner of the. Lots of companies have come up with the idea of, if somebody comes up with an idea, give people some money or a budget or the time to take it forward. Well, you can also do the same with the idea, as we were talking about before. Not the unknowns, but the things we need to know a bit more about. Just say to people, okay, you can use 10% of your time, 15% of your time, or whatever it is. Find out some more about it and come back to us, or write up a little report. And people will get quite. If people are involved, they will get more involved. If they're disengaged, then they will probably stay disengaged.
Yeah.
Or they will be skeptical until
something moves in one way or the other.
Yeah, I mean, I can't remember the exact video now, but there's a colleague of mine, Dr. Paul Thomas, who did a BBC series with the bin men of Blaenau Gwent, and it was all about stripping out middle management and getting people to get involved in their jobs. It's worth having a search for. If you can't, let me know. I did have access to the video somewhere, but that's worth looking at. And even the most skeptical people, if their colleagues buy in, will start to buy in. So to say, we've got a skeptical workforce or a stroppy workforce is not an excuse. And I mean, there's all these curves there's innovation curves and other change curves, aren't there, with early adopters and or like a normal type distribution. And to be honest, the 10% right at the end, they will either come along or they won't. They'll leave the company and you can replace them. But most of your company will come along for the ride. You've just got to start.
And people come along for the ride because they know that their opinions are valid and they know that they're being taken seriously. those that don't come along for the ride are the ones that have already just checked out, and those are the ones that you have to be careful of. They don't poison the experience
Yeah,
for the rest of
exactly.
them. Derek, we have opinionated.
I'm just making. Yeah, we have been very opinionated.
And thank you, Simon, for bringing to our attention the idea of having staff.
I don't know what I did to Simon. Maybe because I was talking to him today about porridge and cooked breakfasts and mastermind. I don't know.
Yeah. Okay. I'm not even going to try and work out how they're related, but that's okay.
Don't. So I've made a note. We will talk about ambition, which can cover next month, which can cover everything from the ambition in bigger companies to what gets the entrepreneurs out of bed in the morning.
I love it.
So there's a lot we can do there.
I love it. Brilliant. So, thank you.
To whoever has been listening, thank you. We hope you've enjoyed it. Please come along next month, and we'll let you know in plenty of time when it's going to be. It's the 3rd Friday, so whatever that is of March.
I think you'll find that the days of March are the same as the days of February.
Yeah. So it won't be the Ides of March. We'll be giving you wait for it, the ideas of March.
Oh, that's appalling. I don't want to hear that one ever again.
So yeah, that's what we'll do. So it's
and interestingly, Opinioneers will turn 21 next month.
Coming of age.
Something along those lines.
Yeah, maybe it's going of age we need, so we go. Anyway, we'll be back next month. So thanks for listening, watching, and enjoy the rest of your day, and have a good weekend, folks.